Good afternoon. My name is Alonso Mujica, as Victor already said. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions before beginning. How many of you have either like a young sibling or a young son, or can you raise your hands, please? Okay, so it's pretty much that the kids right now are kind of like born with technology, right? So I just wanted to show you a video of how natural they're actually with technology today. So this is like a little boy with an iPad, right? And this is like an old school magazine. But the kid seems like there's something weird there. Look, it's kind of like, he's trying to do something, right? She just doesn't get it. But she's gonna do something like weird. She's gonna try if her finger's a problem. It still works, right? My finger works. Okay, so let's go to the device that actually works, right? Now we can actually hop on the presentation. So the thing is that nowadays, like young kids, you actually don't have to teach them how to use a device. Like, you remember when cell phones came out, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, and you actually received like a manual this big, and with the steps on how to turn off the phone, and how to put this, and this button does this and that, and whatever, right? But that's no longer the reality. So, okay, I'm going to do a couple of jokes then. It's good. So the thing is that nowadays, education needs to change, right? But why? And now is when I hop on, like, we've already seen what the kids are doing today, but now I have like, oh, what's this? Now I have like really awful news for you. It's that in year 2019, like in Latin America, we're gonna have like a huge gap of technology jobs, like 500,000 jobs in Latin America will remain unfilled because we don't have enough talent to fill these gaps. And the number in North America, or like, well, let's say United States, it's 1 million jobs. So it's like between those combined, we have almost 2 million jobs that will remain unfilled because we don't have enough professionals in technology. And why? What's the problem? Because kids do know how to use technology. They don't know how to use devices, right? So the problem is definitely not like human beings. We're not the problem. The problem is that less than 10% of the schools in the regions are teaching any kind of STEM education or like coding. Like, sincerely, we're not teaching, in Latin America, we're not teaching computer science. So this is me. This is actually the hour of code. My name is Alonso Mujica. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Syllabus. I love technology. I became engaged in technology because my dad, he's a journalist. I don't know what he was doing, like trying to be an entrepreneur. But during the 90s, he had a computers company. He bought computers, they assembled it, and they sold it to companies. He had a like little SMB, PYME, very small business, and they had some customers. So I always had a computer at home. So you can see like actually photos of me when I was like this size and this size because I used to be really fat kid. So I was not that social, and I used to love computers a lot. So my mom, she's like very strong mom, like she's like the iron fist in the house mom, the Margaret Thatcher in my house. She told my dad, dude, this kid is using the computer too much. Can you actually give him something useful to do rather than play Doom or like Counter-Strike or like Mario? So my dad started installing me like software, educational software. So I had Encarta. So I was one of the few geeks that had Encarta both at the school and at home. And I had like math games and I had like computer games. So I actually used computers like my whole life for not only like for fun, but also like for education purposes. Then my dad just left the company and went back for journalism. But the thing is that this stuck with me my whole life. So I had like this small episode with technology that like changed the way I saw computers and the way I interacted with technology for my whole life. And the thing is that I've always loved it. So, and at some point I said like, and this is also part of my personal story, but the thing is that at some point I said, okay, I love computers, and I would love to study like in systems engineering or something. But then like for social pressure, they started telling me, but systems engineering is for the guys that fix computers. It's kind of like, it's not the hacking cool part of technology, it's like the guy that you said like, hey, Alonso, I have a virus, can you please come and fix it? Or like something like that. So it used to be like technology like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. I mean, we're talking pre-Zuckerberg, pre-Elon Musk technology era or marketing. Like it used to be kind of like those guys that don't talk with anyone, that are like in this subway or like in this very, very far away room. So technology was not an aspirational thing. So and they convinced me, my mom convinced me, my mom's like, so she's a tough girl, like you should know her. So she convinced me that industrial engineering was a career for general managers. It was like, you gotta study this. So actually my teachers told me in school, okay, you can either be like a business administration or an entrepreneur or like an engineer, and I mean, you should study something that actually could combine those stuff. So I actually became an industrial engineer, and then I studied, then I went back from when I finished college. I worked for companies kind of like IBM, Samsung, and Lenovo. So my love for technology came back. So I wanted to do something that combined either technology and business and creating products, you know? So that's when I became involved with the whole startup team. So I was trying to do something, and this story goes back like 4 years ago when I worked for like as a part-time consultant for a startup, and I was trying to do something there, and the project was, there was a tourism project that has nothing to do with education, but what we were trying to do is we were trying to sell Peru outside Peru. We were trying to sell Peru to the international community as a really cool place where you could go visit and have fun. So we had like kind of like this tech startup for promoting Peru. It didn't work. They fired me. It was a disaster. But actually, it became like it became like, I realized then when I became familiarized with the concepts of MVPs and programming and lots of stuff, I said like, hey, you can actually go like to a room full of smart people and you can actually design something that can have any kind of like economic impact with the country. So then I said like, okay, let's build something that actually does this. And then it began with my second venture that became what became known as Team Off. Team Off was kind of like a media company for blogging and doing events, doing a lot of like community events and workshops for technology and startups entrepreneurship. And we did like many of the people that are here were at some point invited to be panelists or guests or like to do workshops with us. And we reached a lot of people even like in other countries. But the thing is that we were not making actually any impact regarding the guys that we reached with our information, with our blogs, with our videos and stuff. If they decided or not to become either entrepreneurs or become engineers. So in one of the events that we were doing with my second company, like 20 guys approached us and said like, hey, we heard what Pedro or like Victor said in this talk, and it was actually very interesting. I would like to know more about that. And I said like, and they asked me, Alonso, do you know where we could learn more about this? And I said like, yeah, sure, Google it. And they said like, no, we actually would like for like a workshop or like a course. Why don't you guys put together a course and like hire the guy, the speaker, and do the lecture? And I don't know, we want to learn it. And I said, I was looking at the guy and said like, whoa, and would you pay for that? Like, would you actually pay for like a course of the guy I just invited? I said like, yeah. So I just grabbed like this paper and said like, can you please put your names here and your like phones and your emails? So that's when we actually saw that people didn't just want to be like informed about something; they wanted to actually learn it. So we started like doing workshops, and then when we did workshops, then that's when syllabus, that's what I'm talking about, was actually born. Because we always, and my passion was always to drive people to get engaged in technology, but I was doing it with like information, blog posts, or videos, or content. But actually, when we started doing it like in classes, in the classrooms, that's when people and where our students actually started to become engaged with technology. And then I had like this really, not awesome, but I had like this really crazy idea of, why don't we do this in high school? Because I remembered my personal story, and Diego, that's like one of my business partners that is there. And I said like, when did you become engaged in technology? Like, when did you learn this was fun? I said like, it was in school, or either when I was in like high school age. So like, so why don't we do one of these like coding courses or like video game courses, but let's do it in high school. So I approached my miss, my old school teacher. I said like, hey miss, I'm an entrepreneur. It's been like 12 years, but would you like to do, I'm beginning to do like classes for programming. Would you like to be involved in any kind of way? I said like, come here next, and come here tomorrow, and we'll discuss it. And then it was basically, we introduced ourselves, and 2 weeks after this meeting, we were doing our first workshop. And then this is when this actually happened, that we developed this solution that we became over time. We have custom design courses of programming, basic programming, but I mean like, what's an algorithm, basically. Then we started going actually to develop other kind of like subjects, like web development, or Python programming languages, or Android. And we have a project-based methodology, because the first time that we went to our school, we started teaching and said like, hey, do you know what computer science is? And kids looked at us like this. So it was like, computer science. It was like very weird, old school, or like not familiar concept. And it's because there's this whole marketing thing that nerds are boring. So like, this is kind of like the area where nerds are the new cool, right? But so we started saying like, the school model, the basic model is that you learn a lot of stuff in school, but you actually don't apply it. So then we started saying like, hey, the things that we're gonna teach you, you can actually develop a project around it. So we started getting people involved in creating their own video games. So this is where like we came up with the project-based methodology, and it started like working really well. And then I became a university teacher as well. And my students learned about my company because I give a lot of talks about like kind of like startups and designing your own products. And they approached me and said like, hey, I would like to be a part of this. So like, yeah, but I don't have money, I cannot pay you right now. So like, no, I just want to be a part of this, like either to give talks, and I would love to go to my school and like help you get more students engaged in technology. So this is where we became with the idea that we needed like a community of student ambassadors, so that people that were already studying coding or computer science, they could actually become syllabus teachers and go and do classes in the classrooms as well. And this is where the money comes in, right? Because when we have like our courses with our own website platform and with our own mass of students, then we can actually sell courses and workshops and start going to schools in different cities to actually do this as part of like extracurricular training for the students. So we have a syllabus has a solution that combines an online lessons because we design our own web platform, and we have face-to-face workshops because there's a lot of online study, but if any of you have recently joined an online course, I would love to see you raise hands, only the guys that have finished it. 4, 5. We must be like 50 people, right? So like, and this is like the global ratio of people that finish online courses is like less than 5%. So and imagine taking that into the kids today that are watching Tinder, WhatsApp, Snapchat like all day long. It's like, do you actually believe they're gonna have like the discipline to finish online courses by themselves? It's like very difficult. So this is why we came with this blended solution for syllabus. And this is what I told you, like all online courses, you just like there's very small ratio of people actually studying it. So we as a company are the only startup that is focusing on computer science education, but with a blended solution. Because we think that technology is about people, and you cannot leave people like out of the equation, right? We charge $50 per student for schools. We also sell to corporate, and we also sell to like government institutions. We started like 2 years ago with 25 students, and last year we reached 750 students, and we actually did a demo day of one of our video games in San Francisco in an Angel Hack conference. This year we got into like Startup Chile, that is one of the top accelerators in Latin America. We received funding. This year we're going to reach more than 2,000 students. We've generated more than $50,000 in revenue, and we achieved this year completion rates of 88% and satisfaction rates of our students of 80%, and we are operating in new countries. We have offices in Peru and Chile. What are our future challenges? Is our technology, because my CTO is one of the guys that's like always questioning how can we develop a really good product. So he's never satisfied with everything that we do. So technology is a major challenge, right? So we actually are doing a lot of testing with our students and to see how we can actually get them more engaged and build a more scalable model. Scaling, we're investing in training more teachers in both Peru and Chile. And we have actually been approached by other countries like Paraguay and Argentina, and how can we take syllabus there as well. So we're investing in training people, because if we have trained people, they can actually learn our methodology and use our online solution to develop this in other countries. We are securing distribution networks. We are signing contracts with universities in Peru, with universities in Chile, including Alonso, as well as like the biggest universities in Latin America. And we are looking to raise funding so we can actually take this operation to the next level. This is our team. This is me. This is Diego, actually doing a live stream from the back. And there's the whole team, including my mother. There's like the best CFO that we have. She's like the Margaret Thatcher. She's like the Margaret Thatcher of finance, seriously. The advisors, one of them, you know him. He's been here like giving lectures all day. We have built a very strong team of advisors that combines like computer science, passion, and also like education. So we have like also women that are more sensible with education helping us. And look, this is our activities. This is what we're doing. Of course, we have a platform, but we're doing like hackathons in schools. We're getting them engaged. Look, this is an event. This event ran all day. It was a Saturday. And look how the kids are engaged in a Saturday event about technology. A hackathon for students. So if we can get kids, like high school students, this engaged about technology, I bet that there's something that we're doing right, of course. So I basically, this is like, I'm asking you guys if you have like little son, like little kids, or like this young sister or brother, or you know companies that are actually looking to get engaged and how to help develop the Peruvian ecosystem of education, like please contact us. We're syllabus, and I'm just going to leave you with a final thought. Imagine that this conference doesn't have just one Omar or one Victor or like one Rosalba or one Victor Cadejas. Imagine that we have to actually do like a very long selection process, because we have so many students that were inspired by technology and that pursue technology careers and are actually have Peruvian talent changing the world. Let's not be satisfied with just 5 guys or like 10 guys of Peru living now in the States changing the world. Let's do 100. Let's do 200. Let's do 1,000 students. And that is only going to be possible in the way that we get the state, the government, and all of you and all of the ecosystems investing in education. And I'm showing you a model that is like built by private entrepreneurs in the private sector that is actually working into countries. Imagine what we could do if we got companies and telecoms and retails and the government engaged in this kind of thing. So this is me. Whatever you guys need to know about what we're doing, I'm more than thankful and pleased to answer all your questions. Thank you very much.
you, Alonso. I think there is a lot of questions now.
Need some water. I've talked too much.
First of all, congratulations. I think this is a very relevant initiative. I work for a medical device company, and STEM is one of the things we're investing the most. Interestingly, in Latin America, that's not too common, but I think it's relevant. One of the revenue streams, if you will, maybe perhaps for your company, is partnering with companies like us, for example. We don't have access to a lot of this material in Spanish, for example, and we don't have the expertise to develop that ourselves, but we would be more than happy to partner. It's a way from us to, give back to the communities, and of course, we need future researchers and scientists. So let's make sure we can.
Amazing. More than happy to do.
I have a question. You're talking right now about the future of education, which is fantastic. I totally agree, and congratulations for your CEO.com. In your opinion, who has to be in charge to teach entrepreneurship in the schools? Because if back 25 years ago, I barely remember one word from my teacher about entrepreneurship. In your opinion, right now, who has to be in charge? Regardless of public or private schools, because if the teacher is history or geography or educación cívica going to teach entrepreneurship, and he's not or she's not an entrepreneur, probably we have a problem. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that regarding that, the best guys to actually, I think entrepreneurship cannot be teach as a thing that you need to follow this recipe and do exactly. But I think that schools should have some kind of content that gets delivered to them, to the students, in order for them to learn principles and some logic about programming, about design thinking, about entrepreneurship. And the most important activities of this should be given by entrepreneurs, by engineers, and by designers, because you can only teach about stuff that you actually do. But of course, the role of the educators is good in order, the school teacher should be the agent that kind of sets the environment for these other guys to come and do interventions. But I think that there needs to be a balance of the school system with this knowledge that's actually not in the system.
And you think that the system in Peru is willing to do that?
I know that it's kind of willing, goodwill,
Yeah.
but doing something about it, I don't think so. And I think that's the major problem because, private initiatives, my reach is 2,000 students, and that for me is big. But there's 50,000 schools in Peru, and I just reached 20. So if there's not you cannot leverage the reach that the public sector has, you're never going to change a country's system. So that's the thing.
Any other question? Yeah.
Have you break even, or when are you looking to?
We actually broke even our first year, last year, and then this year we started investing a lot because we got this money from Startup Chile. So right now we're not break even, but we already reached one break even last year. So I think that we're gonna probably next year, because our expansion, we had to open a new office in our country, but I think that probably next year we're gonna reach to that point again.
One more.
One more question. Which platform are you using to deliver the online classes?
We have developed an own platform. Yeah, it's our own product.
Have you heard about code.org and how they interact with it?
Yeah, we of course heard of code.org, and we actually, the thing is that we have these courses, and code.org offers you tools. So we can teach computer science using code.org's tools, or using Microsoft tools, or using Cisco tools, or using, I don't know, your tools, you know? Because the things that we need to teach are actually the same. Either we do it with video games, or we do it with offline computer science. For us, it's not relevant. The relevant thing is that we actually develop the results of knowledge that we want to get into these students. So we're basically open to work with many of other initiatives related. So I think
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Alonso, for the presentation.